Assalamu alaikum. Bari kamol be konton ke jey mi yalon ko wala kana programme jibe ka fami di currency reality tv jam yan kol kana le loko lokum al badi ma amad diallo mi yalon ko ontel ka siale ka politician ol fena ni ka kaja ko la mi yan kol badending banko ni na wala bari an kera multi mi yalon ko 2026 min kera presidential election di kra ko 2027 parliamentary election akira puti mi yalon ko abu sutia kan nambake banko ni kan ne politician ol kera multi mi yalon ko be fon parandi kan bakele on fana ku jaman mi yan kol le ko kam banko ni kam pour kali ka jibe falen do sakino nyami min ka kuwal ni yan ko man ta ku kan banko ni kam bidum nata luntan do mi yan ko fodi posta en gari fana sur platform on min kera ate honorable yaya Sanyang la to kula sa la dictate ndaku kala do babula la ate honorable ni mo le ñu konto ni pareta nsa dum ka tani kon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Amadou and your cameraman. I thank all of you and the viewers from Ponto, and I'm happy and glad that today is my turn to appear on your TV. Be Ponto na nila be in Gambia dingol be the model Ponto na sunga.
Abaraka bake honorable kalung kachapono ma fulol dan wol kita by election ko nyam ko dina na Banjul capital city nyinto ni akalam da Allah mi yol wasiri jemi kira rohi malik loti aba kibaru la findika katande je ko United Democratic Party ita candidate donde la min kira have that word nyinti na to kibaru nyi suda mina na UDP ko sifata.
Yeah, political organization like UDP need to coordinate with other oppositions because it's high time opposition on Nimbankoka bela imminent drum bela hamen community drum me Adam Barrow bon la nyadi in 2026 presidential election. So where tell the opposition janiba for 2026 nyanda nga coordinate nyanda nga nyomoy nyanda nga kambe. So UDP pour que disonota kanalo banyula manke ko msileta election la ombe boy la jël offshore. But if once oppositions must identify each other's strength, where each other's strength lies, then by way of that, you'll be able to coordinate and deliver a strategic defeat to Adam Barrow. During a match, we win very comfortably. It was our stronghold. Then we went there and all the process from NPP boy. So it is now Banjul. Is a place that may go wodo ni UDP them now win na katro strategy but them now win. So after that identify a position to stand sort of then we see how do we collaborate and coordinate with that opposition pour que Banjul you win. It's going to be the same message. You know, Masembe Adam Barrow boy taje nim Banjul falang ala party boy taje I boy order falang. It's the same message ko he's very unpopular. So that's the message you want to send to.
But ni ajiwe Banjul kita dula dam yang ko capital city lem anu fana dabu dula la ko nyam ko de dictate gambel politiko kata nyami anu fana nyaki de ko ngafa nyami rek UDP la mole wasiri njamin kita roh malik lodi fa mamira ay mo jamal jahlindi why UDP ba back of come because al kamintan rolon ko al mom popular half that word ni na gagné ni fana.
No, I don't think that there will be a misconception to say we are not popular. And you rightly said ko the city mayor is Omuna Mayor, the Roy Malik Law is UDP mayoress, and nobody is going to refute that. And this is her second term. She won first term and won the second term. So that is telling you go motor for local Banjul Manke UDP stronghold. If they can vote for our yeah, if they can vote for our mayor twice, and they also vote for a UDP a National Assembly member, Honorable Momodou Sabally. So nobody can comfortably say it's not a UDP stronghold. What we want to achieve is opposition coordination. And we are very mindful about that. That is the only message we want to send to Gambians and the NPP that oppositions are coordinated. But it's not that we fear to contest for the fact that we are going to lose. No. You see, we have to give each other's due. For UDP, we don't see any opposition as a small party. Do you understand? If you want to have a very convenient marriage with somebody, you don't need to belittle the person. Do you understand? So we want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Any party party no de Bangkok or mu party be go kutute. Do you understand? That's why we want to give them chance in Banjul to prove themselves. You know, opposition coalition or opposition coordination towards 2026 will be very massive for this country.
Critics are coming for long. It is not just about opposition coordination. UDP already ali min sudah je kom alba defeat ni sudah half day andal malla wala no fully work alba ka gagné masembe ko na ali effort be ke kiang apul ka ke gagné di wani di capital city.
No, this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not about, I tell you, we need to coordinate. And opposition, you don't Do you understand? Opposition, no moment na batandi massive. All these opposition parties here, they have people in massive. Opposition party, they need that massive, they can't shot like but they decided they're not going to massive because UDP is a stronghold, UDP big. So let's help UDP to win massive. So if the same thing is the case for us in Massimo, why can't we also give them a chance in Banjul? I think that's the only message. There is nothing like we fear to lose election, we fear to contest because we are not popular in Banjul. As I said, Banjul call a country of Rohim Malik 2 times. And UDP mayor, you country of Mohammed Lamin by mayor UDP, UDP the National Assembly member. So you cannot say we are not.
So are we going to see UDP back in PPP?
One thing I know, UDP will back an opposition candidate there, but it's not only going to be UDP. As I said, a opposition coordination. Do you understand? We are not sure which candidate we're going to back for now, but I'm sure any candidate, the UDP and other opposition parties, if back is going to be somebody, it's going to be a winnable candidate, somebody that's going to win election. Because we just want to demoralize NPP and Barrow. So by way of that, we must make sure they lose to Banjul as well, added to Marcel, so that it can be they lose by election, 2 by elections in a span of 3 or 2 months. So that's a very bad message for them.
So what are you trying to put here? How long signal for 2026?
Absolutely, it's the signal after I mentioned that oppositions are coordinated. So you lose election in Masembe, in Abanule board, and this is the lowest or the smallest unit of any electoral process. That is the council election. That's the smallest unit of all electoral process, council election. So if a government with their money, with their inducement can lose 2 consecutive by-elections at the world level, I think that's a good news for opposition and a bad news for government that they are opposition in waiting.
But ngajele baroko 2026 aba gagné ni sur la will even be more than 2021 ngajele 2021 baro gagné de carte la mi ala ko mosa ko tari ko lon gambe banko ni and still hopeful aka na je ko UDP as far as lawyer Hussein Dawal ba contest on the UDP ticket la koten at the same victory la binal na anu ngajele of recent mo jamal ka findi ka ho ye UDP bula ka ka fu NPP ma of recent pa ngajele min keta rumba and in other places also even in Sunkaro ni ko.
No opposition will tell Kafu if I go boy. Opposition let me say no politician rather. Politician for boy. Every politician can I'm going to win. So Adam Barrow and other NPP politicians will never say we are going to lose. What every politician could mean for we are going to win elections, and that is normal in politics. But I can assure you, there is no chance NPP win Nanyi Banko Kanyama in 2026. There is no signal, there is no sign, because my party's favorability among the Gambians is increasing on daily basis. We have seen that. So people like Momodou Sabally going to villages, towns, and cities, and as usual, there is nothing newsworthy about him. All what he do is just some foolishness, some foolishness, and I don't respond to foolishness. Momodou Sabally is a very foolish person. Mayor Lonko, he has no credibility in this country. He loses credibility ever since that's not today. And for me to respond to him, tell him, I come up with the party I murmur la molla fenjola all fenje, molla supporters all. He just go around molla supporters all and I forgot to recall someone. So he's just doing the same thing. Molla will never change. He's doing the same thing. The same thing, yes, just to fake the crowd, just to fake the situation, go all over. But as I said, there is nothing newsworthy about it. It's just foolishness.
Did that contribute, Africa Jala failure 2020?
No, 2020 was not even our campaign manager. Yeah, I know. Yes, our party a failure in 2021. Yes, more is about contributor to our party's failure. Because if somebody may along he is so disliked by Gambians. So if he become a face of any people or any group of people or any political organization, it's a failure. it's a failure. There's no doubt about that.
So
Our failure in 2021 largely is contributed to Momodou Sabally nonchalant behavior, foolish behavior all over. Because, as I said, he's seriously disliked by Gambians. So he cannot present himself as a face of any political organization.
UDP knowing that while Momodou Sabally, there was a certain time, most of almost the face of UDP. Most of the time.
No, I've not for say.
So for UDP as a party already coming after Nyam, he's not that much liked by Gambians due to his involvement with former regime in the
Not even in former regime, it's just foolish.
So why are your acceptance he might even cause the reason?
No, a political organization, a political party become mobile. Because as far as Momo Katro Bablo or Iminyama told him for this person, Katro Momo Budo, it can be like Sabana, we left our Katro. Because Mola Katro is, if you all put our, tokens in the ballot box, there is no differences. It is president, the whatever, any important party in the country, it's all the same kind of token, the same weight, the same shape. So it's not a mistake for UDP to do so. But come for Nyame, more madmen of Kafana force. Do understand? Among he is not capable of shame. You had Madunga, Nikamal demanding on certain things, but more madmen, he's not capable of shame. He can say today is white, tomorrow is blue. He can say all of that. Allow from first of UDP, allow prominence is the UDP. I been from first out. Nobody at here long, he knows in the executive and in the central committee. Most of after the national executive meeting for central committee, I can't malu. So I can't even get nothing to the outside the central committee meetings.
It about talib la company most of the time I got in good time. We are always doing
there is no such thing in UDP. Talib camp, Hussein camp, Rahim Malik Law camp, whatever camp. There is no camp in UDP. What we have is UDP. So this camp issue is something where I'm going to Momodou Sabally and others. It's all about because they fear Talib. Most of them, when they face Talib, they have that inferiority complex in them, and I don't know why. We are human beings, a human being. But anytime you associate with him, you have that inferiority complex. Anytime they rub shoulder with him, so that makes them very uncomfortable. So falsely, they created a notion of camp. That which a camp I don't because for me, there is nothing like Talib come konga fu nyame. Talib nam for moy this what I want to be, this what I don't want to be.
Coming for lonko, even the time young Momodou Sabally UDP, pour anatole associate with Talib was something me along.
Aboka hanye Talib na ngon fo ite. Yala mo foreign young ni bende anytime draw lonko. Jongo be abe some little complex sotola. So on mala pro knowing Talib la froya not la joya. So aboka comfortable with that. This nonsense notion of Talib come at a Momodou Sabally and others, it only create, don't understand, in the minds of people when it is not actually there. For me, I don't see anything in UDP like Talib camp, Hussein camp, or whatever. It's all made one UDP, galvanizing ourselves into a very powerful political force to defeat Barrow in 2026 presidential election.
To put it to you, Sabally might be the reason UDP Mangani 20.
That is exactly one of the reasons. Okay. If we are going to get our reasons, lack of this, lack of that, lack of this, then the most important issue there will be because of Momodou Sabally involvement in our political process.
Momodou Sabally jele afindita ko UDP alla 5-point agenda were very weak and gamenon malala wala na 2021 and mangani presidential election. And he was
so that's the type of individual you are not exposing him to me so seriously. He was somebody advocating for that five-point agenda, saying all sort of things around that 5-point agenda. If the same person can today say it's a weak 5-point agenda, that's exposing the kind of person is Konga Fanyame with no integrity. Zero integrity.
You need to back the party like I do at that stage Momodou Sabally cannot come out openly UDP.
No, he can come out openly. We told UDP is a political organization. We do have our internal criticism among ourselves. We do that. We do peer review our policies. We do peer review our politicians. we do peer review our political processes. So for him to say this is not a strong thing in those days, that's not going to be the, but that's telling you the type of person Momodou Sabally is, that he's so disliked by Gambians. He's so unpopular in this country. I find not for say more control. He's not even knowledgeable. He doesn't have knowledge. It's just some kind of.
Head of civil service.
It doesn't matter. You can be head of civil service, minister, president. That depends on the political, the particular political dispensation at the time. But he cannot just prove himself that he has knowledge. Yeah, because somebody who has knowledge will not be shouting, running after cars, and try to please politicians. You don't do that. If you have knowledge, you operate independently outside political position. But somebody who can only survive when you are given political positions, when you can be consultants, you can be, a lot of things. But it's very sad that Gambia is a country that you can say you are this and everybody will accept you to be. Otherwise, most people deserve not in this country.
Still the same on that. Ngajele Dr. Demba Sabally ako UDP almu patil dunia ng apinya ako ang fitina patil di kami ang mali bang pumara yung worsen dictatorial government niya pala man sa kunda ko ni kila aba kila kuballe ang panati mo atata duala pangka katra balurin pur kaje ko witness UDP party.
Then it's time for him to die, because UDP party will win presidential election. Let him commit suicide before 2026, because all signals are that UDP is going to win 2026 presidential election. Our favorability index is getting higher. So if a politician can say you don't wish to survive, you don't wish to be alive when UDP government comes, then it is time you start thinking of your suicide options.
The same trend that in 2021, people were, the crowd was too money, still now the same trend continuing.
One thing I am telling you, that UDP is winning 2026 presidential election, and I don't get into crowd comparisons in 2021 and towards 2026. I will not endeavor into that crowd comparison. But one thing I'm telling you for sure is we are winning 2026 presidential election because Gambians are beginning to see the truth that which political party can advance this country, can advance the interests of citizens, and which political party has group of intellectuals who are needed to spearhead the development of any particular organization. You see, UDP, we have professions everywhere. When you say engineers come on board, you see hundreds of engineers. Economists come on board, you see hundreds of economists. Any profession, I'm not talking of lawyers, any profession you need to come together to develop a particular country, UDP has that in the excess. So when we come on board, Gambia will be like this long overdue. We could have given this political organization a chance since 1996.
Still now will be in UDP Janimbatanga National Assembly. Of recent, Rohim Aliklo among content some of your supporters, Lamikita United Democratic Party, in that comment section of that most of the time, it feels like you people have been paid to come and say bad things against me. At a former Molkonaka, Sanyang, I respond to most of them. Need a comment section of that Olonko. At the moment, the son of Potengamon come against me.
When did he write that? When did she write?
When you go to her page, you can just. I was following her comment section. Let me leave you. So I'm coming. So why most of the time, most often, Alfonso supporters are going against your own people?
That is telling you that's a good news for every political organization where the supporters or militants of that particular organization, you understand, can criticize their political leaders. That's a good news for Gambia. That's telling Gambians UDP is going to be a political organization where supporters and militants will not always agree with their politicians as far as national issues are concerned. There is no single politician in UDP that will tell you all the supporters and militants are not criticizing. Starting from Hussein Dabo down to the last council, everybody have people in the party who criticize you. We are not that kind of a political organization where we will not want to say bad things about our politicians in order to make them improve. We are not that type of political organization. If you go to our central committee meetings, our national executive meetings, that's the time you know that this party is really.
It has to be in a respectable manner.
That is very true. You don't need to be rude to criticize somebody.
The mayor is not happy.
Well, anybody who went against the mayoress rudely to criticize her rudely, maybe you have a motive.
I mean, there are people inside Alpha they are paying those people.
I don't think that will happen though. I don't think that anybody will pay anybody to criticize. I don't think that will happen. But anybody who is also criticizing the mayoress impolitely, you don't need to do that. She's your politician. In fact, you may not even go open to criticize her. You may even go to her house and tell her what you want. You can go to Talib's house and tell Talib what you want. You can go to Hussein's house and tell Hussein what you want. You can come to Honorable Yamenten's house. And I know the board politician in the party, but you should not go on social media and disrespecting the politicians. One thing we agree as UDP politicians, not everybody in the party will talk favorable about you. Do you understand? But we don't also encourage people to go impolitely, especially on social media, disinformation space and impolitely, criticize your politician. Maybe you have a motive, but we always want UDP politicians always accept that criticism for us to improve our performance as far as the party and the national discourse is concerned.
Some of your well-known supporters on social media, some of the executive UDP are trying to stop you kala kuoni jindi pour kaje musa hono rek ay buga malla fala dal that's the reason nyako certain times ika ignore back and na pour kala protect on kudol publish in other social
media. No, that's information. I know our people on social media, our UDP people on social media controlling our UDP TV and media.
Some of your these people are UDP.
No, this is what I want to tell you. We don't want to portray any single UDP politician's act. You have to be liked by every person. We don't portray. We don't. Our party don't operate like that.
Put here, some of the executive. Tombong and the others in Malafi Rohi.
No. Tombong and Rohi are best friends. I can tell you that for sure. Rohi and Tombong are best friends. These are just disinformations out there, well calculated by certain people who want to sow discord among UDP people or executive. But I can tell you, Tombong and Rohi are best parts. Trust me, they are best friends, and Tombong will not ignore any development about Rohi, and Rohi will equally not ignore any development about. These are just some kind of disinformations out there. But I can tell you, I can verify to you that they are not true. It's not true.
UDP left the Kabankoma 2026.
That is correct.
Local government commission some of the allegations on young colleague alleged corruption on
example
KMC Banjul.
There is not alleged corruption. Is it? Let me deal. Yes.
Misappropriation of funds niya lang ko kadundan na nanya kadundan ko silo na yala Rohmai Law was not happy at press conference ko magdan jalong ko hindi ko yala stop jamal sin niya ko it's affecting her council ko kaya ila day-to-day affairs ka mo nyami mo jamal of kang if at all UDP this kind of allegations are vindicated council nindo. How can government trust them?
You see, the central government should leave, how do I call it, local governments to operate. These are people elected by the majority. Now, if KMC, let's start from KMC. You see, when Talib Bensouda came on board, all the traditions he met as far as office operations are concerned, or let me better put it, office entitlements to the mayor.
We can go into money
okay. During Talib Nata KMC, former mayor can measure come entitlements. First, a telephone of over $90,000. So he prefer a telephone less than $90,000, 45,000, less than that amount. I owe telephone on you. He rejected that telephone because he said it was very expensive. This thing, how do I call it? Coupon. Mayo look 11,000 every week, but mayo nada ako 5,000 na kanyanda. Flat screen all over 150,000 for the office. I will be reject. A vehicle $5 million. Do you understand? He prefers something lower. In fact, at the point he doesn't. He at the moment from Valamoloko, mbenna private car use, but council don't insist on no. It's a private car use no, they cannot do it. In other motor side 2.5. Somebody rejected 5 million car to 2.5 to 2.5. So how will that person be a corrupt individual? Because all what they can see, they go passport, I go. Yenye murumurum beke KMC, commissioner murumurum beke KMC, ka witness or command. They are not able to see any major financial scandal. The only thing they can go around is picking the passport, which is a normal process. Do you understand? So, a protocol officer going to pick, that's a normal government routine. So only less than $200 is what is corruption?
But some of the councillors me alonko, I market inspection and other stuff here. You could me alonko.
Well, market inspection. For me, what I remember from no system is perfect. Do you understand? Especially when Nibe Gambero managed, no system is perfect. But there is no scandal at the level of our councils. Is major to an extent that it can cause public outcry. You go to Banjul, all what they can do is raise money, but it's all not true. Look at Banjul now and look at Banjul before. Look at KMC now, look at KMC before. Look at BCC now, West Coast now before, and look at Masakongo. So Gambino make NPP Kiyofa. Gambino le Jereko. Council member UDP ko council perform ka. But council member NPP ko man ta fenke ka. So Gambino na begin to feel ko. Nyun performance omo UDP is going to be reflect on UDP as a government. So well NPP all local side now there are chances of winning election in this country. It's no more.
Is the
because Gambino currently side.
KMC ngajele recently dimbabu da lata kunda masere la constituency.
That's
kibaro ga findiko waste protocol nyankol.
That is easy. That is
why I left to put clear where there's the fact nyankol.
That is not the fact. In fact, that is not true. That is not true. That men wafirla ndangi wafirla ndiamte wafirla ko polo nyimbesh park and the brain tilbro but it from make it from mistake ni o sifaje yente airport nawek men be wafirla woto momang west Kuford. How will west in fact ignite fire? It's just some kind of ignorance. So men be wafirla woto wala nyina foko pod gam nawek la polo nyina be kaspa. Do you understand? So it all found they failed to report it to Nawak so that they can come and feel and dimba. But Lamim from Ganda, if man can marché found. Do you understand? It's a private block. Do you understand? Even though close to the market. Do you understand? And they do provide service to the market because it's found lower. But it's not in fact part of the market. That's what they don't understand. So there was nothing like Latukunda Marse Ganda. Due to lack of waste collection. That's not true. That's false information.
So false like.
That's false.
Kata is still now minkeda UDP la pori ngama weba kila final question in the jani mitala National Assembly ni kono so rembe sambala di afro baro mitala souvenir on pole keta nyinde so ko minji kita yela souvenir ngel mi finano most of the time afro baro mi nga jele ka kiskis ron mi ka banko mi keta souvenir sorry most of the time nya findinde akala ba wole nyama nga jele ka bo election la kana afro sa most of ila souvenir be keta ko nyambo inara ke to nyalle ka ba keta ye kibaro findinde corruption ka kedami ba ke banko nyin kan min keta National Assembly yaltumi back corruption symbols back. What is your stand?
Well, I don't think that's true because more men understand about National Assembly. National Assembly members representing their constituency is different from National Assembly service. Do you understand?
So it's all differentiate. No.
Do you understand? I'm a National Assembly member, but National Assembly la tamandinya al management. Do you understand? I don't have anything to do with that. Do Do you understand? Because until more politicians and can we serve and go. But the assembly service, led by the clerk, is different from National Assembly members. So, man, what kind of corruption are they talking about here? More, I've never stumbled on that. No read or no anywhere. But Ningamira, National Assembly as National Assembly member, even corruption in the office. I don't. There is no space.
Nepotism and other stuff. Iko abasi yani assembly kono batel. Ye fa bakar to mom tumala le speaker ka ni ko adi mon munda mi alon ko ay tamandi la so do diglam assembly ni kono full le sabati lam anu fu procedure bi nyaadi la ni na rek pour ka ye ka do ko di molla di.
Well, I'm sure the National Assembly will have their procedures on a bit more recruit la nyami. Do you understand? Because nga fina to politicians will come and serve and go. But it will be as staff. So those kind of corruption, if I may direct you to the clerk of the National Assembly, then it will do in the National Assembly. But then after speaker ka dingol tamanda ka do ko dile, that should not happen. That's something that is very, very wrong. But the best person to explain then I'm not the guy to explain that. Because I'm National Assembly member.
Honorable Sanyang resigned as a chairman in one of the committees.
Subsidiary legislation.
National Assembly. What triggers?
Yeah, what triggers my motivation to resign as a chairperson of that committee is the committee is useless. Yeah, I don't think the committee a lot of sarto mena. Sarto tamali no correct. So it's not about picking sitting allowances. It's more than that sometimes when you come to the national service. So I don't a lot of sarto mena sarto romuko ka masakunda come into no loi dada primary legislations nka fanna di masakunda fanana president na minister na dokula pour que loi ringo dada pour na loi bal pour just to improve the implementation of our legislation. Exactly. So in those days, National Assembly because they don't scrutinize those subsidiary legislation. So bring a committee now we talk into loi de l'alba me alon ko sai masakunda be loi ringo be dara assemble the National Assembly by force. Pour nga jibe fo nga mem fo be olokeka. So bring more below in the committee bill Samba National Assembly nara committee to Human Rights Committee pour ka banko mo ngilenka fo nyanda kala ba fama nyanda kala so to na de ko banko dingol ko ma nyanda kala based on their consultation so National Assembly for nata wo report on adop so nda Sri Lanka to be in this committee is just to be there for the sake of it and picking committee allowances or sitting allowances, but the job of the committee cannot be realized. So that's why I resigned. It's not about money. It's about sometimes integrity. It's about Gambians when they hear people resign, they are like, why? Because we have every virtue except resignation. Gambians don't want to resign from their jobs that they are paid, whether they are doing the job or they are not doing the job. So we have every virtue except resignation.
I just Sabally the other school you could not deliver. You decide to resign from the committee.
Well, that is that. If I could not deliver, that's just miserable. Because Commission Brinton Natale, initiatively, you understand, through my initiatives, committee belonging that, which has never happened. You understand? The committee was there. It was formed in the last legislation by Yakumban order, but only to exit Naraka Kilometer. So Brinton Nata. I make sure the committee to do what it's supposed to do. That's why I initiatively brought that idea to the committee. I committee below that. Committee below me the National Assembly by your side. Government bill and that was that happened during my initiative. So and that's the only thing. Without that bill. Without National Assembly accepting that bill, the committee cannot do anything. Maybe Sabally is a very ignorant person. He doesn't even know what is subsidiary legislation. He doesn't even.
Most of the time, in the opposition, most of the time, I mean, speaker and deputy speaker sitting in class party National Assembly.
Yeah, that's
sometimes you feel like dolka reaction from the JPO, speaker most of the time have a chance to elaborate more on issues or malfunctioning of the government. For less about it.
No, that is very, political, National Assembly is a political house occupied by politicians with different interests to preserve their political organization. So, speaker and the deputy speaker, they have their political interests. Not opposition members also, we have our political interests. So, National Assembly is a controversy. It's a house of controversy. Controversies in the National Assembly will never, be avoided. Come on, NPP don't have. When you want to speak, we know when you speak, you are always speaking politically. Your speeches have political impact on our party. They confess this to me, because that is why they will never let me talk comfortably, because anytime I speak spoken, keep quiet. It impacts their party and their government, and that's natural. That's part of National Assembly proceedings. But I don't think there is hatred. I don't think there is enmity or whatever. It's just some kind of political gimmicks. Everybody trying to play to make sure that your party becomes the Gambian favorite.
Kavale Valva Reality TV Gamble Gibeka and a program of currency, a beef and Kumaka Yamara, Honorable Sanyang, Inketa Latin Kunda Sabi Deputy at Lomola, Linton to be a Makasha Fana in Olkeda, UDP La Fanati, Paramount Secondary local government council team in Keda, the UDP Marine Council in the Banco income. Going forward, Honorable Sanyang. Diaspora voting chocho wata bake banko nyinkam jere a rejecta mi yalon ko amana continue National Assembly kono gambe jamal ni yanko le banko nyi bandu especially imam kontan simpala mi yanko National Assembly ni wala ke what next covering diaspora voting ni rejecta what should be done again pour kaje banko dum yanko banko nyi bandal ile nyanto bari ko banko dum bele nyanto so to exercise pour kaje ka carte nyi fay banko nyi tanya nyi to what next mi nyi ndeke ko.
Well, before we go to what next, what happened should not have happened. The National Assembly have acted in excess of their legislative mandate, authority, and functions. You see, when National Assembly members make laws, and I tell them to many media houses, if we don't make the laws to the best interest of Gambians, or we make laws try to curtail rights of individuals. They have avenues to go and address those grievances. And when National Assembly make laws and we give citizens the opportunity to go to the court and get answers on the laws that we make in the National Assembly, then it means we are a very weak National Assembly. A stronger National Assembly will always make laws to the best interest of Gambians, laws that are not going to be disputed by citizens, and they go to the Supreme Court and get answers against the laws you've made in the National Assembly. That makes you a very weak National Assembly. And if you look at Section 39 in the Constitution, there is ambiguity. It means National Assembly at the time, we are not very precise, do you understand, on what do they mean by diaspora registering in the National Assembly constituency of the Gambia. Do you understand? If you look at the section, you see that diaspora shall register in the National Assembly constituency of the Gambia. That was what was passing at the mind of Parliament at the time. What was passing in the mind of Parliament is not very clear. Do you understand? There is ambiguity, it's not clear, it's not precise. But this is why Bakar Bunjadabo and others versus the state and the Attorney General and the IEC went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is the apex court, do you understand, that interpret our laws. They will try to see, Supreme Court will try to see what was passing in the mind of the Parliament at the time. They will try to see that and interpret it. So what the Supreme Court interpreted was they must be registered and vote. And that is where it stops. So National Assembly doesn't have the right again to come and challenge the decision of the Supreme Court. That's why we have clear separation of powers. We make the laws, and the citizens went to the court, want to know the answers to those laws we made. And the Supreme Court is the body responsible for that. So therefore, it's just some kind of misunderstanding or National Assembly, some National Assembly don't understand what they were doing. But we dare not to challenge the rulings if of a Supreme Court. Section 39 is already an interpretative clause by the Supreme Court. We don't have any business to do there again. What we should do is to enable IEC to register Gambian. And in fact, IEC has subsidiary legislation, there are regulations and policies. That is the mandate of the IEC, not the National Assembly. So that logistical constraints, legal constraints, it's not just our business. That is the business of the IEC. Because IEC is an act of parliament. And we have given them in the Election Act and even the Act of IEC to be able to perform their subsidiary regulations. So it's just pettiness. Well, minister is a political being, and which is very unfortunate. Attorney General, Chief Legal Advisor of the government should make sure you don't wear a political cap when you come to sit in the National Assembly to help members make laws. You don't do that. But it's just unfortunate that the AG behaved in that way. I don't know why he behaved in that way. But if you ask me, he shouldn't behave in that way. He should have tell the majority camp what they should do, to the best interest of this country.
Going forward, Gambia kita bangun yang security lapses pasiar nyam bakele anyapin kamo mufa ni nimbo nyama asiar bakele official ngajele some people have started calling on social media ka for death penalty ni huruna understanding what's that?
Well, for me, it's not about death penalty. I think it's about government is so relaxed on security. This is why we earlier on advocate for security sector reform.
Before the security sector reform, do you believe that death penalty in Yankanguna?
Death penalty, whether it is back or not back, that is, in fact, death sentence is just the moratorium that is placed on it. But it's still in our laws. A moratorium, that is the discretion of the president. The president can say anytime, I remove the moratorium on the death penalty. So it's still there. It's not something that has been completely deleted from our laws book. It's just there. It's just some moratorium placed on it. Suspend it for now. But it does not mean that people serving death sentences will not.
Most of the time, social media, I believe you are in the right position to explain. National Assembly members of President Kolal Purkaje, I am Murundina Purkaje, I Bulogundakan, death penalty, coming for Nimo Mofa, there's not like it. Because if I'm for even Dunia Bankupal and China and the others, death penalty is still not.
Death penalty has its complications. The human, it's not a progressive law in this 21st century, so that's why many human rights advocates are against death penalty. But whether death penalty or not death penalty, that's not the issue here. Do you understand? In fact, I don't even think killing people will deter crime. I don't think so. Because in fact, that will make people more aggressive if they go to robbery, because they will know my ultimate fate is death. They may be more aggressive in the process of stealing or in the process of robbery. It's just some institutional failure. This recent showering in crimes in the Gambia is as a result of failure by Barrow administration. Failure specifically to implement security sector reform, and without that, our revolution will not take shape if we don't have a constitution, and that constitution even has a lot of security sector reform. Do you understand? So our revolution will never take shape if they are not committed to security sector reform. By the time we implemented that, I'm not telling you we are going to see zero crimes, because human beings, you cannot avoid crimes in our society completely, but it's not going to be at the rate it is right now. I can also tell you that for sure. So it's failure on the side of Barrow administration.
What need to be done? Because you man sakunda, because security ni kira kudunya paketa concern nedi bangku dumole. Mean step lenin takake because man sakunda to call their attention because some of these reforms is happening on.
No, there cannot be any meaningful reform now against 2026. the only remedy we have is to vote Barrow out. Because some of these policy reforms, policy amendments will take a lot of months, few months. And now we have only few months before the election. So it's not about reform now. I don't want Gambia to think they should call on Barrow for reforms. He will never do reforms. The only thing Gambian can answer to Barrow is to answer to him in the polls and reject him and let him lose 2026 presidential election. That's the only remedy available to Gambians now. That's not to call them to bring reforms. No, reform is late. Reform could have taken in the last 7 years ago. Then in the last 8 years ago. But now, calling for reform is not the answer. The answer is we go to the polls and vote against it.
Jamal kan National Assembly members will blame ko niaje consensus man soto the new draft constitution na ko wolong new political difference ni ko National Assembly ni kon wol fa yasabu consensus ni man soto pour kaje Gambia draft constitution ko or Gambia constitution ko ni soto because na draft constitution
well if you I wrote an article last week. For me, I'm not even a fan to National Assembly members debating on the Constitution, approving or rejecting it. If you look at the 2020 draft, it was very consultative. Gambians outside the Gambia, Gambians in this country were consulted on the type of constitution they want. So why do we have a law that will take the constitution to the National Assembly? Why can't it go straight to the citizens? The citizens will decide now. National Assembly members as representatives of citizens can equally go and queue and vote for the constitution. But only 58 of us having an utter discretion to reject the constitution or approve the constitution before referendum, to me, I argue that legally is wrong. I think our laws need amendment, where if citizens are consulted on any law or any constitution, National Assembly member cannot be a passage to the constitution where they will have discretion to approve or reject. That particular law or constitution should go to the people directly. They show that now citizens will decide, reject or approve their constitution. But now citizens are at the mercy of the National Assembly members. When we say go to the referendum for citizens to vote, it will go. When you say no, it's no. So it's not fair.
So 160 million just went.
Yeah, 160 million is just some kind of money, committed to a wasteful national process called the constitutional building process by the CRC, and it's very unfortunate. 2020 draft is the one Gambians accepted, not the revised 2024 by Barrow administration. If they bring 2020 to the National Assembly, we will negotiate. There will be dialogue around 2020. So what people fail to understand about our position is we are not saying that 2020 is draft is a complete document or is perfect. No, there are certain things that we will trigger negotiation around, but we can only trigger negotiation around 2020, not 2024. That's out of it. That one we rejected as it appeared before. But for 2020, we can adjust some sections and see just to create dialogue around it. So there are two things: dialogue and non-dialogue. Dialogue is around 2020. Non-dialogue is around 2024. So the Barrow administration have first to see where do they want to create.
So with the UDP government, are we going to see a new?
Yes, UDP government. If we win 2026 presidential election and the National Assembly election will happen in April of 2027, I can say by June or July we should be able to have the constitution that Gambia saw. That is the 2020 draft. UDP will quickly. In fact, that's going to be the main achievement in our first 100 days in office. The constitution Gambian want. The first day we step in the State House as UDP government, that first day our president will start working on how to bring the 2020 draft back to the Gambians.
Of Nindesol kono ba tembelu aba siron nyika international body nyinto United Democratic Party ali press bondi kandi ko you are supporting ba tembelu a critical ko UDP alman kontan Dr. Tangara la kabinga fana mo place nyika international body nyinta I'm coming. Secretary General Commonwealth covering Abanyini County for UDP went against him. He works on the former regime yalonko he was trying to Gambela foreign affairs portray banda miyanko akamansa kunda fasa miyanko human right abuse kasiare ni bakele batambe du kabun afana yala miro ko katin je ka parel ne kasira mo nyala kadlani ni ICC the International Criminal Court UDP yesafero bondi kanda jibodi abaki ni December tambe du at the time in office as minister shooting keta farabale na jara fata le ku jamal kita miyalonko Gambe no man kontan and femon finta ko ni kono why UDP.
You see, people should stop forcing their way of thinking on a political organization, political organizations. That is wrong. If that's how they think, you understand that it's supposed to be. Because it doesn't also mean anybody in UDP want Bar to get that place. That was just a statement by the party leader. You understand? On behalf of the party, that is okay. That's how party leader thinks at the time. Do you understand? But that does not also mean party leader main thing. Do you understand? Party position.
General meeting should have been executive.
I'm sure there'll be a meeting at the executive level. But what I'm trying to tell you is, it doesn't mean that represents the view of everybody. For UDP is a political organization. We have divergent issues on. We have divergent issues. Do you understand? For me personally, do you understand? You cannot hold Batambedu accountable to the killings that happened in Faraba and other things. The only thing I said, I don't think Batambedu performed as a good attorney general when he was serving or Shia. He was not a good attorney general, to my view. But that is my view. That cannot be the view of the cameraman or view of the other people. My view is I expressed to them is I don't think he was a good attorney general. Do you understand? But that doesn't mean that all the crimes that killing that happened on the Barrow administration is one accountable. The only view, my singular view was he did not advise Barrow the time Barrow wanted to kill. Barrow wanted to dismiss Nyakumba Jet.
That was his feeling.
Exactly, and I expressed that even in the group. I don't think Bar performed well, in my view, as a good attorney general for his country. But I pray he can be a good judge in the National Criminal Court. Because my view was he did not advise the president very well on sacking a nominated member. Do you understand? If he advised the president very well, President Barrow will not try to sack a nominated member. That's number two. After giving the president bad advice, you still wear your wig and gown to go to the court and defend it. I told people I don't see him as a good attorney general at the time.
Former President Jamel assessor wafta among good advice the president was assessor wafta munmali wafta nyami imalo wafta general.
No, but the former president
I'm coming and also the sacking of Umar Sajo from the armed forces will make it on Jame Amulko from the Umar Sajo. He was a soldier of Martin Bongo in Gayasa and Jane.
Yeah, for me, this is a question always brought by honorable member, I think for Jarul, Fonyi. They keep bringing that. But my position to that, and I always tell them to the Minister of Defense, court orders are meant to be obeyed and are meant to be executed. You don't review court orders. You don't review court judgment. But the last statement he made in the floor of the National Assembly was the defense is in consultation with the lawyer of this particular board. Yeah, so we see what will come out of that. But when I told him that the court orders are meant to be obeyed. So with regards to former President Jammeh's property, I don't know what is wrong with it. The former president was condemned by law. It was condemned by a commission of inquiry. Manifestedly, we have seen all the kind of things he was doing when he was the president of this country. So for me, grabbing lands and all over the country because you are the president.
Actually, you have to do diligence for.
Well, I don't know anything about that. But for me, there is nothing wrong to seize former President Jammeh's properties. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there might be something wrong how you dispose of the assets, which I have no knowledge. But no citizen will convince me that for the state to seize everything about the former president, there's nothing wrong with that.
So have you tried to make any finding towards assets on your work and all that stuff?
Yeah, yes, I think we can be very curious to take that route also to find out how when you seize his properties, how do you dispose it? There should be that accountability, that there should be that due diligence and transparency to that. But as I said, seizing anything from President Jammeh, that one there's not wrong with that, not wrong with that. But how you dispose the assets? Do you understand? That one,
So
there are big problems.
it understand is different from party the executive standing that supporting Batambe.
Yeah, that's my view differs. Yes, I told them, in my view, he was not a good attorney general for the fact that he could not stop the president to sack a nominated member. Do you understand? And the advice, I'm sure the president will not take that advice, that decision without consulting his chief legal advisor, who was Batambe at the time. So for me, advising the president that you have the constitutional powers to sack a nominated member in the National Assembly. If you look at the separation of powers, I don't know how did Ba made that legal advice to the president.
Yeah, man, backfire la UDP kan. Because these are two individuals me along ko ibebulo man Sanyang mo tumila allegedly cool to tam neba a place on yin mara cool like me along ko.
But you about 2 minutes.
Sorry, me along ko if ila mar tam a place on yin mota bang ko yin kan. Cool like the me anko ene silul manta min kera faro nin kuda iko justice man so mo jamala ni anko ya wala fa faraba ya bunto min kera faraba ni ya harna justice man so wala mo le.
We should try to distinguish something. For me, a role of an attorney general, I think that should be the role of prosecutors. The police arrest people and prosecute them before the court. Then the justice and the judiciary comes in here. But initiatively for Batambe to initiate that, I have a very shallow knowledge to that. So that's why I say I don't want to hold him accountable to those things. Do you understand? The only thing I can hold back accountable, in my view, is he did not advise the president very well to sack Yakumba Jaite, Honorable Yakumba Jaite, and also you gave the president a bad legal advice, and the president sacked a nominated member. You still wear your gun and you need to go to the court and defend that. That's the only issue I have in battle with. Besides that, I don't have any other issue in agency.
So I come to time when to the Yaman Siabake. I will take you a little bit minkeda banko na karo in kandi. Anina the economic hardship la am pulli mi alam kam siaran ba banko balwo na fanala am pulli mi alam kam antra nuri Gambians are so far in the masin kono sector ni activity abo victim ba tele ni na the fanala. Infrastructure wise most of them ko mi around 50-50 data ni bo mo ba mi foko ko sila dol bi ita last la ba ko mo la ko ndaj nya ni constituency ni to e silo ni dale within few years to send it ma silo ni tinya da su ko silo ba da ko ko tenge Gambians ide advice la minela towards this government, and in this short duration ni ko la taje president Adam Barrow mo sa kunda ba yamar la min step la pour kaje some changes ke banko yin ka especially ni na bol bo ni fanna.
Well, to start from the economic perspective, I think this government has proven to us time without numbers that they don't have the wisdom to manage this, to manage the economic affairs of this country, and that's it's a red card, for them. If they bring their budget before the National Assembly, you look at their priorities. All of their priorities are not priorities that will enable the economic advancement of the citizens. Where they prioritize should not be the priority, should not be the kind of priority that a particular government should prioritize. Looking at the trend of our economic hardships, that's very unfortunate. So they don't have the wisdom to manage the economy of this country. That's number one. Number two, when you talk about road construction, I'm an opposition and I don't want to. I'm an opposition. I'm an engineer by profession, and the road construction, and we are part of those people who initiated the OIC. So that road they're talking about, the Latikunda going to Sukuda, you see that road was done by Gamworks, but it doesn't have drain. I always tell people, open roads without drain, it's not going to be durable, it's not going to be sustainable. So when we are doing because we identify all these roads from P1 up to P20, including the Battle Hardy. So during identification, the road was done by the gum works, but we realized that the road doesn't have drain, and this is an urban road. Urban roads, I was an advocate to that. Without drains, forget it; it won't last long. So we decided that then the OIC should reduce some sections of the road and do the shallow drains parallel. Do you understand? So road construction, it depends on the scope of the work. It depends also how much money government is able to commit to those various scopes of the road. Do you understand? Okay, if you also look at road construction, many Gambians don't get one thing about road construction. It's not they only see the laterite, or the gravel, some kind of other materials. It's more than that. When you are doing road construction, every kilometer you capture the value of all the properties that you are going to utilize for that particular kilometer of roads. The caterpillars, the graders, all those heavy machineries. You have to quantify all of them in every kilometer of the road. It's not only about lateral, determine, whatever that people see. It's more than that. The engineers, the consultant, all the experts you need for that particular kilometer of road. That's why road construction is very expensive. Kilometer will go up to a million or so. So that's the only. Otherwise, if it is only a laterite put on the road and whatever your artworks, etc., it's going to be very cheap. But you have to capture all of those heavy equipment. You have to utilize the value of those heavy equipment on the roads that we are doing. So that's why road construction is very expensive. I agree. Some quality of our roads are pretty very bad, but it's a learning curve. So I'm not going to be an opposition. I go against everything. That's not even fair. Human beings, you have to be very fair. You don't operate like that. So that's my area that I understand. Anything people are saying is wrong, they think can be done otherwise. If I have an expert opinion on that, I'm going to express it. But anything that people are saying about road construction is always a learning curve. People can always learn, and ministry can always learn, and they have to learn. By way of that, you put more money to give you more quality. But without more money, the kind of quality we have is what we can have.
In brief, UDP, first target
our first target in the 100 days in office is general reform. First, we are going to introduce vehicle policy, no doubt about that. We are going to implement security sector reform, and we will certainly also implement all the Commission of Inquiry findings, adverse findings that this government failed to implement because of political reasons. And we will, over and above all, we will look at the minimum wage of Gambians, salary restructure. In fact, that's going to be so key in our reform agendas in our fourth 100 days in office. How do we make sure minimum wage of Gambians, civil servants, public servants, is raised to an extent that everybody can survive in this country. Everybody can be able to build houses. We will also look at another critical area, affordable housing scheme for Gambians. We don't want to see civil service, the police, the army officers, the prison officers struggling, serve government for 30 years, they cannot build their houses. No, when we come on board, we have to, that's also going to be our main priority, affordable housing scheme for civil servants, where you will build house for civil servants, give them as well, and spread the payment plan to the entire, service with the government. Because we all work at the to have compounds. So, but here, Gambians, the main problem for civil servants is low income earners, is how to is building their compound. In fact, if you don't even give citizens that kind of scheme, you are encouraging them to embezzle public funds because they want to build their houses. So that's going to be very key. UDP 5 years in office, we want to make sure that all low income earners, Gambians, low income earners, will have affordable housing scheme that they can move in with their families.
Abarka bake, honorable Sanyang, you want to meet up with a smaller platform on Indo. Bari mon kaltin ko kaljani am ko lewen jibe kana cameraman of nan Ibrahim Batin ko kajai fo wadi ko inshallah bari ma amad jalol bin mali